Hey everybody, welcome to BK's Bullets. Today we're talking Batman Damned, the first release from the DC Black Label. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. Thank you for watching us on YouTube and a little bit on Facebook as well. So today we're going to talk about Batman Damned. This is the first release from the DC imprint line Black Label. It's down here. Now, you may have heard about this a little bit yesterday or this week. I think it popped out on Wednesday. There may be a lot of innuendo here in this video because this book was coming out and everybody was excited for it. It's Brian Azzarello, Lee Bermejo. They're a team that's got a good reputation, stuff like that. But instead of the quality of the story, the quality of the artwork, the only thing that came out from it was the fact that in the print edition, which I only picked up because of this, it's a little bit weird to admit that, but that's why I picked it up, because I figured it'd probably go up in value and price and I could flip it on eBay in a week or two's time. But basically, it's the first appearance of what we'll call the Bat-wang, or the Bat penis. Yes, Batman is in the buff over here. And I can't show you the pages because they'll get censored, but it's out there online. You can Google it if you really want to see it. It's not that, I don't know if bad is the operative word. It is big, but it's very subtle. Like a few brush strokes we're talking about, one color kind of thing, an outline. Almost as if the way that, when they draw superheroes, like here's Batman on the cover and you've got this edge lighting right here, that's kind of how it is in the artwork. So it's not... Don't get too excited about it, but it's there. So this book got a big push, a big push of publicity because of the nudity in this book. But that is not. It's kind of what Black Label is for. DC is advertising it as creator-focused, out of continuity stories where creators can. Focus on the story, focus on the art, and really push the edge of story and the edge of comics and that type of thing. So it's their kind of like mature reader's line. And they're retroactively pulling in Batman White Knight by Sean Gordon Murphy into this line. When it's collected and I'll pick it up in its collection, it's going to be released as a DC Black Label. I think they're pulling in Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, and I forget, maybe there's probably one or two other things that they're pulling into this line that in future editions of those prints of hardcovers, trade paperbacks, whatever, you'll see this DC Black Label insignia on the cover somewhere. But really, this line is supposed to be this format. Now, if you can't tell in my hands, this is actually... I'll just pull out this other Death of Wolverine comic we're going to go over in a different episode. This is bigger than a regular comic book. And I like to do it like this. I was looking at some videos online earlier this week trying to figure out how big exactly this book is, but I'll do it like that. So there's your regular print comic, pamphlet, floppy, whatever. So you have all this other edge. It's more wider than it is tall. And that's kind of that. And it is square bound. So if you don't know the difference between them, and you probably can't see it on the camera here, but this is just, two staples and a bunch of paper. Here's the middle. Here's two staples right here. So this is what most regular comic books are. Some of them have, covers that are same as the paper. This Marvel comic has a little bit different paper quality for the cover than the interior paper. Some of them, like the old Ultimate Comics line, used to have cardstock covers. So it was really hard and kept them in really nice condition. But most comics these days are kind of this floppy. That's why they call them floppies or singles. And this is square bound. So all these pages are kind of stacked together and glued the same way you would a trade paperback. So when you put them on the shelf, if you're going to put them on a shelf, you would look at it and it's kind of got this spine crinkle right here. So that's that. But all in all, I can show you this page. There's no nudity on it. The inside of this art is gorgeous. This is a 100% painted book by Lee Bermejo. And you're going, Brent, Lee Bermejo is known for his painted work. And I will say, aha, that's where I think you've got it wrong, mister. Because Lee Bermejo, while mostly known for his painted work, doesn't always turn in 100% completely painted work. So we're just going to go through a brief history of the Bermejo, paint I love his art, by the way, and he's one of my favorite artists. So I think I love him the most because not only his style, it's very gritty, it's very earthy. Everybody feels very dirty. There's a lot of like jagged lines, and that's no more apparent than when you look at it without the painted, ink work and color work and stuff that he does. Let me put this down. I've got my wonderful Batman black and white Bermejo statue. What's unique about Bermejo is that anytime he does a piece of artwork for DC Comics, I don't know if he's done any Marvel stuff at all, but he always draws Batman the exact same way, and it's his way every single time. He's got his own Batman costume. It doesn't really appear anywhere else but in art by Bermejo, and this is the physical manifestation of this costume. I love it. I love this black and white statue. It's got all the cape stuff. You can see the eyes in here. There's no like eye black. Batman never has the white eyes. You can't see it on this cover because they put the damned letters over his eyes. But, he's always apparently easily identifiable as a human dressed up in a costume. Put him down. You've got the Action Comics cover for Action Comics 1000 I picked up because it's Bermejo. Superman from Bermejo always has the raised S shield. It's very hard, very sturdy, almost as if it's made of metal. And most of the stuff, the way that he paints, almost has like a metal sheen on it a lot. The first thing that Brian Azzarello and Bermejo did was this called Lex Luthor Man of Steel, as it was originally published. So this is a trade paperback, and actually this book has a little bit of painted moments and non-painted moments, like you can see the rendering and stuff like that. And then on this page, here's a painted panel, and then over here is like a non-painted panel with a colorist. I don't know if it was Bermejo doing the colors or if they got a different person to help out doing that. But it was a little less apparent when I was reading this book because the colors still have a watercolor type quality to them that helps provide the illusion that they were 100% rendered with like a gray wash and stuff like that. So here's a good example of two pages that are got this gray ink wash, this rendered quality to them, and then you turn the page and it's just regular comic book art. So it's hard to tell unless you're a super fan and stuff, but it does add a little bit, in reading this book, it does add a little bit of like weight and magnitude to the pages that do have that gray wash on it. So they also have a hardback of this where they just changed the title and just called it Luthor. It's no longer Lex Luthor, Man of Steel, it's just Luthor. And I guess there was like a couple extra pages in here that they added, and that's why I picked this up. So I do actually have 2 volumes of the same book. But what they're most recently known for is, this was a couple years ago. When was this printed? It doesn't say. It says on the inside. Copyright 2008. So almost 10 years ago, Bermejo and Brian Azzarello, the writer here, released Joker. And this is like an 80-page graphic novel. It was originally published as a graphic novel. This is the first printing. Love the smell of this cover. It just smells, I don't know, it smells kind of dirty a little bit. But it's all about the Joker going nuts, and like you're following the life of a Joker henchman being in Joker's gang and stuff like that. So you get glimpses of Joker. So I remember seeing the pages again for this book being, fully rendered in that gray wash style. And then I open it up. Let's pick a page that doesn't have strippers on it. So here's a juxtaposition right here. On this side, you've got, this is kind of famous panel. It's a 1-page splash of Joker exiting Arkham Asylum, fully rendered, gray wash. And then on the opposite side, you've got a rendered panel at the top here, and then every panel below it is not rendered with that same gray wash. This panel of Joker flipping the bird down here is just a regular comic book panel. So again, what's nice about these non-rendered panels is that you can see the jagged edges and stuff that he uses to form his line work for his wrinkles, for his shadows and stuff. And once you can tell that, then you look at the rendered ones, you can kind of identify it a little bit more. But, in the rendered pages, here's another one, rendered versus not rendered. All those like hard edges kind of blur away into like the pseudo grit, pseudo realism of those paintings. So I'm a really big fan of Bermejo. So I was, other than the Bat-wang, I was really excited to get Batman Damned. So let's get back to the book itself. There's a little background on the creators. Azzarello is known for writing crime comics. He's most famous for writing, I think, 100 Bullets, which is a great series, which you should definitely pick up and enjoy. But this book is gorgeous. I mean, it's just gorgeous. The last book that Bermejo did was Batman Noel. I don't have a hard copy of that. I do have it digitally. But this is just a gorgeous book. 100% painted, rendered, beautiful, lush artwork. And this series is going to be 3 issues. You're going 3 issues? That's short. Yeah, your regular comic book, your floppy down here, normally they're 20 pages. This, I think, is 40 pages. So you're going to get 40 and 40, so 120 pages. So that's longer than a regular graphic novel. I think the problem with this series in particular, I enjoyed the issue. I really enjoyed the artwork. The problem in particular with this one is that you get 40 pages and you don't know what the plot is. It's kind of like one ongoing mystery. It's kind of a slow burn, I guess, but 40 pages to me is a really, really slow burn. If you want to do a 20-page slow burn and then start it in the middle of this book, start really going like, oh, hey, there's a demon and we need to go on a quest with me and John Constantine and all this other stuff. That's what it's being billed as, but reading this first issue, you don't get the impression that Batman's going to team up with John Constantine. In fact, Constantine is in this book a little more infrequently than you would think, as that is the way that it's billed. On the back of this book, it says we're going on a journey into the underworld of the DC universe to determine who killed the Joker with John Constantine. John Constantine apparently saves Batman in the first page. He narrates the whole thing, and then he shows up towards the end with Bruce Wayne, or Batman, in a church with a great last page that I'm not going to give away. He's not really in this book. So it will be interesting to see in issues 2 and 3 as we wrap this series up, or just continue it in that manner, if it's truly a journey with John Constantine. We see Deadman in here, and Bermejo's vision of Deadman is really, really cool. So Deadman, if you don't know him, is this DC Comics ethereal spirit who infests other people's bodies and then can talk as himself through their bodies. So normally he's kind of like a vapor thing. Nobody can see him ever unless you're like the comic book reader. But once he possesses your body, then he's like, oh, hey, I'm Boston Brand. Your voice may change a little bit, or your affectation, stuff like that. But the way Bermejo draws him, it's almost as if he's a dead, most of the times you see him, he's a little gaunt. Sometimes he's a skeleton. I think when Alex Ross draws him, he's more like a skeleton face. But here, he was a circus performer that died and wearing a costume with D for like a daredevil or dead man, whatever, because he nearly died every time. When he finally did die, he took that costume with him in the afterlife, and that's his superhero version. But the way Bermejo draws him, he's like, if you ever saw that Bodies on Display exhibition and stuff like that was touring around the country, it's literally as if every bit of his skin has been peeled off, and they painted, there's a sinewy D on his chest, and his face is like really, really white for some reason, but it's still it looks like he's totally made of muscle. Like you peel the skin off a person and it's all muscle. It's a really creepy effect, but it looks gothic and beautiful in the way that Bermejo renders it. There's some interesting flashbacks to Bruce's childhood here. I don't know if that's going to stick. It's out of continuity, so it doesn't matter, but Zatanna's in here as kind of this weird street performer. Just really, really interesting takes on the DC universe in the typical Azzarello and Bermejo style. So, do I recommend this book? It's hard to say. It is $7. It's $6.99 cover price, whether you buy it physically or digitally. If you can go find a first printing copy, if that's your deal and you want to try and flip it on eBay, definitely go out right now. Go right now. Stop this video. Go right now and search around the comic shops, because I think this is going to sell out just because of the Bat-wang. But it's hard to recommend at first read of the first issue alone based on the tale. If you're a fan of Lee Bermejo's artwork, absolutely pick it up. This is definitely the best way to view this artwork. Making sure I didn't open it to a Bat-wang page there. Definitely, the larger format certainly helps this super rendered style and stuff like that. So, definitely, if you're a Bermejo fan, this is definitely worth your pickup just for that. I hope it's going to be collected in this same size. I think I'm going to wait for the collection for the other 2 issues. And, hopefully it's collected in the same size so we can enjoy it. But obviously, if they shrunk it down to a smaller size, the dimensions of the artwork aren't even the same So they're going to have a difficult time if they do collect it in this format. Just, they're only going to have it's going to be like a letterbox thing from here to here or something like that. So that would be a little weird to read. But anyway, that is Batman Damned. Now, another thing to note, if you're out to collect this issue just in your collection because of the Bat-wang, whatever, future printings, the second printing of this book, the collection probably will not have the Bat-wang. Just be a reminder. So if you're an originalist and you want the original copy of everything, if that matters to you, seek this copy out. If you're interested in buying mine, send me a message. I really only bought this collected edition just for that part, to be able to flip it. So I'm not lying about it. I don't have a physical collection other than my trade paperbacks and stuff like that. So this is just something I bought because I was like, well, I might be able to flip it for at least twice the cover price. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of BK's Bullets. Are you interested in Batman Damned? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Am I wrong? Let me know down below in the comments, and I will see you guys next time in the funny pages.